So, some apologies in advance to anyone who wanted to watch this later on YouTube and is very confused at why you're staring at an unfamiliar bar. Um, I lost the recording for the last episode, and I apologize in advance. I'm going to try to give you the best recap I can. Garish and Mech made it to Raven Hill. They woke up in the morning and spoke with Keith, who gave them a variety of jobs and other information. Um, the party talked with a few other NPCs to eventually get directions towards an artificer, Griswold, who had been looking for some people to look in on his mother. As well, they also found out that there is a goblin bounty board where people are essentially keeping a high score and sort of a competition among adventurers to bring in the most goblin ears, which you will be handsomely rewarded for. Upon going to Edith's house, who is Griswold's mother, the party had discovered a band of goblins who had overtaken a cart. They pushed through the goblin menace, as well as didn't walk away completely unscathed. A little bit of a sketchy fight there, but in the end, the Mech and Garish both survived. Oh, what else am I forgetting that was really important that happened?
We dug that amulet out of the pool of acid.
You did dig an amulet out of a pool of acid. A heart, an anatomical heart locket. Also, as well as you all met a wandering merchant who was peddling his wares, who had named himself Claudius. He had a wide variety of mystical things for sale, including a chunk of obsidian with skittering runes that kind of permeated its surface in an unknown language. Meklaresh herself became very interested in this piece, and the party seemed to give interest in some of the other pieces of mystical objects that Claudius was selling, and because of their great interest, Claudius parted with the chunk of obsidian with the party free of charge, with the promise that the party would be back to purchase more of his wares in the future. The game concluded with the party finally making their way to the rather large cottage on the edge of the wood. A fallen tree had crashed through the side of the house long before the party had got there. The front door smashed in, and a lot of unusual things were spotted around the perimeter of the house. Most notably, what seemed to be metal pipework ran along the outside shafts of the gutters, and there seemed to be light pouring from within the house through the kind of curtain-covered windows. This light, however, was not flickering as normal fire candlelight is wont to do. Instead, it's kind of a steady stream of light that's just pouring out through the space. Upon seeing the destruction of the house, Garish kind of called out to see if anyone was there, a sharp hello. And instead of receiving any kind of warm greeting, they instead heard the replies of a beast from within, this large, guttural growl that howled through the wood from the house. And that is where we will begin. So, you all have just heard this large howl that pierced through the air coming from within the home. What would you like to do?
I think we should stand still.
Yeah, could I possibly do a nature check to determine if I recognize the sound of the howl?
Yeah, absolutely. You
Is it
can
a
absolutely
natural beast? Yeah.
roll a nature check. Living in the mountains has taught you many things about different wild animals, and there's an unmistakable growl of a hungry wolf that immediately catches your ears, but it doesn't sound quite right to you. There's something else behind the voice.
I'm gonna just whisper to Garish, I think that sounds like a wolf. Maybe not, any sort of wolf that I know of. There might be something strange about it, but If it can probably hear and smell us. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to get out of this. And
So,
with that, I'll yeah.
I think we should stay on our guard and not make any rash decisions.
so you all are
Agreed.
standing about, I would say, about maybe 100 feet away from this large cottage in the woods. From your vantage point, there are trees that surround you on all sides except for the path in front of you leading straight to the house and the remainder of the dirt road leading back the way you came. The house itself has seen better days, long overgrown, and if not for the shining of the piping on the outside, you would think long abandoned by the tree that's crashed into the sidewall.
Do you think we should stay put or maybe move a little closer to investigate?
I think we should stay put and keep observing for a little bit.
Give me. If you're trying to remain quiet and just kind of observe the situation, I'd like some stealth checks. Wow. Wow. Very good stealth checks.
Uncharacteristically good stealth checks.
The uncharacteristically good stealth checks. So both of you wait with bated breath. You kind of move off the road slightly to use the different trees as a vantage point to kind of peer behind and look towards the house. You can see shadows shifting on the interior, and you can hear the sound of wood being slammed on wood over and over and over again. And about the fourth time you hear this kind of smashing noise, you hear another howl come from the inside. But this one's not as bestial. It's more. It sounds like it's frustrated.
So I'm just going to whisper. What if she's still in there and she's hiding from this wolf? Because it sounds like it's smashing against something. It could be a door, or maybe some sort of heavy lock chest that she's hiding in. Like it's obviously trying to break through something and it can't.
Okay, maybe we should approach them.
As you begin to approach the home, you hear the sound of wood shattering, being kind of skewn across, and you see bits of wood splinters fly out of the door that is hanging on its hinge. And then you see the shadow dart across the house from the right side to the left side through the open windows.
I'm going to shout.
Let me see.
Just like a big noise, or
Yeah.
You shout towards the cottage lying in the center, and you see a shadow move towards a window and pull back a curtain. There's a dark figure standing there since you are looking into a bright source of light, so you can only kind of see the silhouette of some sort of creature holding on to the curtain and glaring out, and then you see the curtain close.
Should we rush forward?
we'll approach cautiously. I don't know if rushing is like one shadow leapt out the window, and then there's a second shadow at the curtain. Correct?
No, you saw you've seen from on the inside. You can see a figure moving about, a singular figure moving inside the building, and then when Garish called out, you saw something move to the window, look outside, and then close the blind or move the curtain back in the way.
Oh, yeah. I'd say we approach cautiously. I don't know if I want to just rush in. I mean, if you want to, I will back you up 100%. But I am not keen on putting myself directly in the room with this thing.
Should we announce that we are approaching?
I mean, it sounded kind of bestial. Who knows if it would understand us or not? I mean, you did just shout, so those were still here.
We have no idea what the situation is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to loudly shout that I'm approaching.
You hear as you yell, and I assume you're beginning to move closer.
Yes.
You hear the sounds of wood on wood again from further within the house as something is frantically moving wood about. It sounds like wood grinding on wood, is what it sounds like. Occasionally, you hear what sounds like the jingling of metal as well. But it sounds rushed. It sounds frantic.
Yeah. That sounds like someone barricading a door to me. Do you want to take the lead, Garish?
Yes. How close are we to the house at this point?
Let's say you're about 20-ish feet from the front door.
Well, I'm going to go right up to the door.
The door itself appears to actually give me a perception check as you approach the front door.
Say I'm hanging back about 10 feet.
The hole that the tree has crashed into is right next to where the front door is. And it appears to you that the front door has not been smashed down. It looks like it was forced open. You can see bits of splintered wood where the mechanism that would lock the door is connected to the wall, and you can see that it's been shattered off.
What about inside?
Peering through the little bit of the door sliver that's open, actually thinking about it, it would be a little wider open. You can see immediately in front of the door there is an overturned table and what appears to be some sort of a chest, like a wooden chest or box, that's been smashed open. And it seems like there's hay that's spilled out all over the ground near where the chest was opened. You can also see a little bit of the tree, but anything beyond that is obscured by just a large branch that is directly in your line of sight looking further into the building.
I will enter.
Okay. Are you being quiet or are you being obvious?
Can I have a middle ground?
Yeah, you can roll a stealth check. Well, you already rolled a stealth check. I'll keep your previous stealth check. You have been shouting, so it might know you're coming. But you step inside the home, and you can see the crashed and broken tree, as well as a globe that appears to be illuminating the interior. It's like a large globe that seems to be made out of glass that has these metallic pipes that are running through it. And you can see where they connect along the roof of the walls. Directly ahead of your vision, as soon as you step in the door, you can see a bed with a mutilated body on top of it. And as you kind of turn the corner and look over the top of the tree, you can see what appears to be some sort of a living room with all sorts of odd knickknacks that most of which you don't recognize right away. Kind of, you see a large, like leather-bound box, book, several bottles, what appears to be a sphere that has bits of wood that are kind of like jammed through it so it can spin freely, that sort of thing. But the thing that strikes you the absolute most about this room is the figure standing over in the corner. A large, human like figure stands hunched over a wooden box, desperately prying with gray furred clawed hands. Its face been pulled forward and its head hitched over, almost hunchback in appearance, with a long wolf like snout, and it is clawing, desperately trying to open this chest. It has not noticed you yet.
I'm still like 10 feet behind you, just outside, so.
I'm on push to talk.
I was wondering why you were pinging.
Is this a wall?
Yes, this I will draw a little bit better. So this is a solid wall here. Oh, that is a solid wall. And
Okay.
this is a solid wall as well. But you can see this creature or whatever it is, smashing its claws into the box and very slowly making headway into it. You can see it jamming one of its claws inside of a small little gap it's created, trying to wrench the box off the lock, which is holding strong for now.
Hmm.
I guess also this map does not do its windows very good, but there is a window here, 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 and here. Which I really should have figured out a way to make those look good before I just drew them with a pen.
I'm gonna try to duck behind the tree and throw a ball bearing over here.
Okay. As you release the ball bearing, it clatters on the wooden floor and kind of tings and falls and makes surprisingly a lot of noise. And as you do, the creature by the chest turns its head just as you duck down out of its vision, and you can hear it moving towards the source of the noise, having left the chest alone. And you can hear it sniffing the air and breathing heavily with every one of its steps. It steps underneath the globe of light and then turns the corner, looking around.
Hmm.
What's your plan, Garish?
Is this the best time to go Metal Gear Solid?
I mean, you don't have a box, so it's going to be tough.
I just have to get to that one.
It is locked.
Right now, this creature has its back towards you as it investigates the sound of the noise.
I'm still just outside, so I can't offer a lot of input. I'm sort of just listening in on what's happening.
Are you
I'm just gonna.
standing? Are you standing by the door, or are you standing by a window? Where are you standing? Because that's also
I'm
important for
standing.
me.
I'm standing by the door, but just like I have like, if the door is like pushed open a little bit, I am on the like where the hinges are on that wall, sort of pressed flat up against it.
Okay, so you're completely out of sight then.
Yes, but it's also limiting my view into the place. I'm sort of waiting for like a signal or like the sound of anything going wrong to just come in.
I'm going to wait.
Takes a few more steps towards the source of the noise. Begins to look around. After a few moments, it walks over towards this wall here and pushes open a door that was just slightly out of your view and steps inside this other room.
Interesting. Somehow it didn't smell me. How cluttered is the ground between?
It is covered in shattered glass and bits of broken wood as well as mud and other refuse. It would definitely be a difficult task to move through without making any noise.
I'm going to throw a ball bearing at this window.
Give me an athletics check. That's quite the distance to throw the ball bearing. 15. With a 15, you throw the ball bearing. And how hard are you trying to throw it? Are you trying to break the glass? Or are you
I am trying
trying
to
to make
break it.
noise? I would say with a 15, your aim is spot on, and you hit the window, and the force of a single ball bearing isn't enough to shatter the window, but with how hard you threw it, you're able to knock out one of the panes that was loose on the window, and it falls and shatters on the stones outside the window. With that, you hear a growl come from within that other room, and the beast reemerges. This time with quickened pace as it runs over to the window. Almost bounding on all fours, knocking over bits of fallen wood and knocking one of the chairs aside that slams into what appears to be a sink on the far end of the room. It then glares out the window and looks around. It then turns its attention back to the inside, once again sniffing the air. Doesn't seem to notice you. Not yet. Then, after what feels like an eternity, it turns its attention back to the window and smashes through it with a claw. Bits of broken glass fall all over this creature, and it doesn't seem to care at all. It then glares its entire snout out through the window, sniffing the air, and crawls outside.
All right. I'm going to signal Mech to move in.
That's on Mech if she wants to move in or not.
I was muted. Yes, I would like to step inside and just sort of hunker down next to Garish. Be like, what the hell is going on in here?
I have no idea.
You can hear the
What do you mean?
sounds of growling coming from around the building, and it seems to be circling the perimeter.
I'm going to try to make it over here.
Okay. I'm assuming you're trying to move as quiet as possible.
For sure.
Okay, so you're going for quiet and not speed, is what I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you have no problem. Go ahead and move your token.
I want to get. I assume the door opens like from here to like here. Like it swings in this
Yeah, it
direction.
swings in that direction.
Okay, I want to get over in this corner.
Sure.
Don't see the
Garish,
door.
next to you is a battered corpse of what appears to be an older woman, probably in her late 70s or 80s, crushed. You can see a large gap in her chest where it's been ripped completely open and cleaned out from the inside, like something has eaten all of her insides out.
Do I see this door? Is it open?
Yes, he did leave it open. And what appears to be a washroom is on the inside as you kind of peer your head inside.
Um, is the older woman's body? Is it a gnomish body?
No, it appears to be humanoid or elvish, maybe half elf would be your best guess from your distance.
So we're reasonably certain that's not Griswold's grandmother or mother, because he was gnome. He was a gnome,
He
right?
was a gnome, yes.
Oh,
Griswold asked us to deliver a parcel.
Yep.
I wonder if that's important to this situation.
One of you has the parcel. I cannot remember for the life of me who grabbed it last time.
uh, would I have written it down? Yes, I do have the parcel.
Let you decide what to do with it.
I mean, in this scenario, I'm not sure I would just open it. But like, what's your? Are you thinking maybe werewolf mama?
It could
Wolf,
be.
wolf mother?
And if that's the case, the parcel or this could be important to helping us out of this situation.
I mean, if you want to sort of like pantomime to me to open the parcel, that could be something. I don't think you should.
Sure,
Yeah,
I'll do that.
yeah. I will. I will reach into my pack as quietly as possible and try and open the parcel.
Right. As a note, the growling from outside is still circling. It is now approximately in the northeastern side of the house. So I am counting down time.
Okay.
But you produce the parcel from your pack and unwrap the paper on the outside, and there's a wooden box with a slide-off lid on the inside.
I'll slide that lid off. Just take a look inside.
Inside the lid is a bunch of straw, and on the inside of that appears to be one of those glass globes, like very similar to the one that appears to be lighting the interior of the building. Unfortunately, this one is not emitting light.
You cut out for a second at the start there. Like right after you slid the lid off. What was inside?
It's one of the glass globes, not unlike the one that is lighting up the room itself, but is not giving off light. It seems to have, yeah, that's what you can see when you kind of brush off some of the hay on the top of it.
Okay, the hay was what I was missing. I'll just sort of like hold it up and show Garish and just be like, I'll sort of like shrug my shoulders and gesture to it, like I don't think this is it.
You pull it out of the box?
No, just sort of like I'm holding the box
Okay.
up, holding it, like, yeah.
I am disappointed. I shake my head.
All right, I'm just gonna close it and set it down beside me for now.
I'm going to investigate this room.
Sure. Are you going to do a thorough investigation, or are you going to do a quick investigation?
Again, middle ground.
Okay, go ahead and make an investigation check with disadvantage. Looking it over, it appears to be some sort of a washroom. You stick your head inside, you can see what seems like a privy, a small basin for washing your hands or cleaning small objects, as well as what appears to be a bath. You find there's a bucket over in one corner that's half full of water, but nothing really strikes you as out of the ordinary, other than just the fact that it seems more sophisticated than you would normally find in a cabin in the middle of the woods. Meckleresh, what are you up to while Garish is doing this investigation?
I am keeping quiet and out of sight in the corner, hoping that this wolf creature doesn't come and kill me while Garish is messing around.
The sounds of the growls are coming from outside the eastern side of the house at this point. What would you like to do?
I mean, it's like over here, right? On the east side?
It's like,
Wait, no, that's west.
yeah,
It's
it's
like,
coming from roughly
yeah.
like here, but on the outside.
Oh, is this the door?
No, the door is here. This is the door.
Okay, so this is just sort of
But it appears
matte
to be,
fluff.
yeah, it's like broken stuff.
Okay, I just see that there's like a broken door and then like an open door thing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just worried I was in the wrong spot.
No, you're in the correct spot. Let me.
Okay,
It smells a little
so
cluttery, so
yeah.
so like this is the door here, and if it was completely wide open, it would be like this.
Okay, cool. So I'm in the spot
Yeah,
I would
you're
like
in
to
the
be.
spot where if the door were to be opened, you would be behind it.
Okay, yeah. I want to continue being a coward. Do I need to make another stealth check or am I good right
No,
now?
you're good for now. I'll let you know if
Nope.
anything changes.
All right, yeah, I'm basically waiting for shit to hit the fan.
Okay, so if I tried to move over to here, I'd pass in view of this window, wouldn't I?
That is correct. However, there are curtains that are drawn on the window, so someone would have to be standing directly at the window, looking directly through the crack in the curtains to see you.
Well, that's not a risk. Yeah, I'm gonna try to move over to the box, or as close as I can.
Quickly or quietly?
Would I be able to reach here quietly?
Yeah, you can reach there quietly, and then I will have it do its thing, and then we will let you do something else.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Not a problem. It sounds like the creature is continuing to circle the house, and is sort of southeast, sort of near the front door, but not quite at it. The door is still, when you guys have been coming and going, you've been leaving it roughly in the same place, so it is still mostly closed. What would you like to do?
What can I make of this table?
It appears to be, there's a large, like, chicken that looks like it's been mostly shredded and kind of ripped apart. You can see bits of broken bones, and just meat that has been just devoured, as well as what appears to be a bloody knife.
Does this blood look like it came from a chicken or something else?
Make a medicine check. You don't think it would have come from a chicken, since this is like a prepared chicken. It's had all its feathers plucked off. It's not been cooked yet, but it was even after it's been prepared to be cooked.
So it's been drained.
Yeah, so you think the blood probably came from something else.
Okay, I'm gonna move up to the box.
Sure. Trying to be as quiet as you can. You step over and around chairs and find yourself in front of this half-smashed box. The lock that's on it doesn't appear to be of incredible quality, but the latch itself is what's been keeping this creature out mostly. You feel like it wouldn't be harder for you to get this box open, but the creature in its fury might have not been thinking as clearly as you. Around this time, Mech, the noise of the growling is getting very close to you.
I am being as quiet and non-smelly as possible.
Okay, I'm going to abandon stealth and try to open this box.
Okay. How are you going to go about opening it? It's going to affect the roll.
Would I be able to yank the lock off?
Yeah, you can just try to grab the lock and just kind of pull the lock off. That would be athletics.
I will do that.
Sure. Yeah, you go to grab the lock itself, and your hand kind of slips off of it. You can't quite even get a good enough grip to try to just grab it and yank. It appears as though this lock was probably oiled recently. You can try something else if you have a better idea.
Could I pry it open with a hand axe?
You can certainly try. You can make an athletics check again. It just has a different DC. Yeah. You find purchase in the chest, and you do manage to pry a board up off the chest with the hand axe, but the rest of the lid remains shut. So you can look inside now, but it's not open.
What do I see inside?
Inside the chest itself appears to be laying on a bed of hay is a glass jar that is sitting upright. And there's something, like there's a fluid on the inside and something on top of the fluid. But it's hard to tell because of the way the lighting is set up here, and since you can only barely look into the box. But it looks like there's a jar and then some type of liquid in the jar.
Would I be able to pull it out?
No, you do not. You basically have maybe like 2 inches of clearance, and it's like a mason. It's like a little bit bigger than a mason jar.
Well, I definitely don't want to smash this box with Heartbreaker then.
The door to the building slams open, and you can't help but turn and look and see this creature, a fury in its eyes, as the door almost slams on Meklaresh, and it looks directly at Garish. It'd be a great time to roll initiative.
Kind of thought this was how it was gonna go.
I think you're taking that 19 there, Garish.
Because I have the dagger that gives me advantage, but it's still bugged.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, Garish, you were at the top of initiative. It looks surprised and angry to see you. And seeing this thing straight on, you can see blood like slowly dripping off of its jaws and onto what appears to be scraps of cloth that are barely held onto it.
I am going to back up and just point to the box while looking at the werewolf.
Okay.
You're being weirdly diplomatic with a werewolf.
Meclaresh, it's your action. You are behind a door.
I don't like how close this thing is to me, and I'm just gonna hang out behind the door.
Okay.
Sort of like, when the door flew open, I put my hands up so it wouldn't crash into my face, if anything. And I'm sort of like frozen in that position.
Okay. So that's going to bring us around to its turn. And it's going to move 10, 15, or 20, 30 through difficult terrain. And then it's going to dash directly towards Garish. But it doesn't quite make it to you. And it has its claws bared and a murderous intent in its eyes. Garish, it is your turn.
What kind of actions would it take to leap out the window?
You could make a... It depends if you want to do it safely. Because there is still shattered glass in that window frame.
I'm wearing chainmail. I could try to angle my leap. Maybe.
Because
So you have,
what it's going to be is it's going to be either an athletics or acrobatics check, your choice. But depending on which one of those you choose, one is safer than the other. Acrobatics would be trying to dodge the glass and making your way out the window, but athletics is just trying to brute force it and push through it as fast as you can.
I think acrobatics would be safer.
Sure, by all means, if you want to run and jump out the window. Yeah, with a 22, you run and you getting as much speed as you possibly can. You jump, and without even touching so much as a sliver of broken glass on the window, you find yourself outside, catching yourself from the leap in a roll back on your feet and ready to move.
I can keep moving.
Yep. I know I don't have enough map here for you. So I'm just going to consider you off map for now. So what would you like to do?
How much movement do I have left?
You have 5 feet of movement after your jump. And if you want to
Alright,
move
I'll
your
just
character
hit-
away from the house at all, we're just going to consider you off map because I don't have a grid for anything else outside of that.
Yeah, you can use your action to dash for another
30 feet.
30 feet, yeah.
If you just want to full on run.
Yeah, I'll take the total of 35, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Are you going to maintain, be right next to the house, or are you going to run away from the house?
I want to stay on map.
Okay. Not a problem. That'll bring us to Meclaresh.
Still just trying not to get killed. Wondering what the heck is going on.
Oh, you can hear like furniture being tossed aside. You heard the distinct sounds of a man running for his life, jumping out of a window.
Yep. That tracks.
So you are somewhat aware of what's going on, even if you can't see. There's
Yeah.
a lot of noise.
I am just hoping I haven't been abandoned in this room with the werewolf.
I take it that you are not going to do anything with your turn then.
That is correct.
All right. The creature is going to ignore the box for now. and it's going to hop out of the window as well and start to chase Garish down. You have a little bit of a lead on him, as he is not quite as agile as you are in his form, but he is definitely running after you. And you, Meklaraj, you hear the sound of glass shattering this time.
Garish, I just really feel like your plans for diplomacy have not gone well.
Garish, it's your turn.
Hmm. I'm gonna continue booking it.
Okay, yeah, you're just running at this point. This creature's bearing down on you, and you are just running. And you run past the fallen tree, and you are right next to the front door as this thing is slowly. You're unsure if it's gaining on you or keeping pace, but it is right behind you. Mekloresh, it's your turn.
Still hanging out.
You just waiting there.
Yep, this is my safe space.
Okay. And it is the creature's turn. And it is basically right behind you. It is keeping step in step with you now, Garish. And it's your turn, Garish.
As I run past the door, I'm gonna shout, "Open the box!" and run the map.
So you're gonna keep trying to run laps?
I'm gonna run straight east now.
Okay, so you are now off map. So you are just running away from the house. All right, so we're gonna consider you off map. Mekloresh, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna wait for the werewolf to go past.
Okay.
I'm going to actually ready my action to move once I hear it run past me, if
Okay.
that's anything I can do.
Garish, is there anything else you'd like to do other than run from the werewolf?
No.
Okay. So Mech, you hear the sounds of this creature running past you, chasing your companion into the woods. And we will get back to you here in just a moment, Garish. But Mech, you hear it run past you.
Okay, then I will. Just let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is any of this difficult terrain?
Yes, but for now you are not in combat. You are out of initiative
Okay,
because
then I'm
the
gonna make my
battle
way
has
over
left
to
you.
going over to the box.
Okay. Yeah,
Gonna try and jimmy it open.
sure. How would you like to go about doing that?
Uh, I mean, I really doubt I'll be able to break the lock with my meager strength. So I'm going to use my quarterstaff and just try and I'm gonna put it in where the gap is, and just try and pry some more boards up.
Okay, yeah, make an athletics check. Um, you feel like you're making headway, jamming the staff into the chest, and it's slowly. You can see where the latch is slowly coming off, and then you take the quarterstaff and you kind of jam it against the latch and pry out the nails that are holding the latch in place, and eventually the latch falls to the ground with a satisfying clack, and you can lift the chest open.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to look at the thing in the chest.
Inside is a clear glass jar with a glass lid that appears to be sealed with some sort of tape. And inside this jar, floating on a bed of slightly greenish tinted water, is a beautiful flower. Give me 1 second. The flower itself is blue, but you can see faint speckles of purple that slowly emanate from the petals and kind of spread out and kind of leave this rippling effect in the water. From what you know with your arcane knowledge, is whatever this is clearly magical in some way. But it is a beautiful lotus.
Can I make an Arcana check on it to see if I can identify a bit more about it?
Sure, you can make Arcana or Nature, and either one would give you different results depending on what you roll.
Let's go for Arcana first and see where that gets us.
Sure. You can clearly tell with your Arcana check that the purple kind of lights that are kind of spilling off of this flower are not in the material plane. They are kind of spilling out into the ethereal plane. This is only something you've seen or heard about a few times, and there's only a few things that do this, and that would be very high-level spells or very rare relics or just very powerful arcane things.
Do I have time to take a nature check?
Yeah.
On this? Oh, yeah.
It's just seeing what you know. I'd say combined with your Arcana, you may have read about this in a book somewhere, or maybe someone told you about the Forgotten Lotus. It is a very rare magical ingredient that supposedly can be used to brew a potion that can elongate natural life.
So clear for anyone who's not currently in the cottage who might be interested. This is not something that turns someone who's a werewolf into not a werewolf.
Correct. At least you don't think so.
Yeah. From all of my knowledge. So I'm just going to tuck that in my pack for now, and
I'm going to rename this card. And I will add that to your items. Yeah, you tuck the small glass bottle into your pack. There's almost like an effervescence glow to it as you put it in the pack.
yeah. And geez, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. Do I chase out into the night after Garish? Because he's just running away from this werewolf.
Let's get back to Garish, shall
Yeah.
we? Garish, you are currently running for your life from this creature that is hounding you on all fours, running at basically its absolute top speed, trying to catch up to you. After a moment, you seem to catch some. You seem to be in some kind of luck, as the creature seems to be falling behind and actually stops for a brief moment, and then you can hear the sounds of bone snapping and recorrecting their place. And as you kind of turn mid gaunt into your run, you see that this werewolf has transformed into a very large wolf and is now running after you, gaining on you.
Damn it, Moon.
Moon. You're running through tree after tree. Ahead of you, maybe about 40 feet as you break through the tree line, you can see what appears to be a river that's fast flowing in front of you. You can see several stepping stones that are kind of splitting the water along the bank. And the creature is slowly catching up. It is about 30 feet behind you at this point and is slowly gaining.
I am gonna keep going to that river.
Sure, no problem. You make it to the riverbank. The creature is now closer to you, and directly in front of you is the running water and the stepping stones. The river is about 50 feet across, and the river's rapids appear to be going quite quickly. Off to the left, you can see where the water dips and falls down into a small fall, and to your right, looking the other way down the river, it just appears to go on for some time and bends off to the left into the woods.
So there are stones I can use to cross it.
Yes, but they are water-slicked stones.
I am not going to cross it at top speed.
Okay.
I am going to carefully cross.
Okay. Go ahead and make an acrobatics check. I'll say with advantage because you're being careful, but you are moving slower. So the wolf will be on you. Okay, 21. You hop to the first stone, hop to the second stone, and then hop to the third stone. The wolf at the riverbank goes to leap towards the first stone. And it makes it to the first stone, jumps over to the second, and then lunges at you. Give me a athletics check. As it lunges at you, you reach out, grab it, and chuck it into the river. And you can watch it splashing around madly in its woven form, trying to fight the current of the river, but it can't, and is soon swept downstream and over the small fall.
I didn't even need to use pushing attack.
It rolled really poorly with its balance.
Yeah, thank God.
You're standing
Okay.
now in the middle of a
Cabin.
raging river, breathing in heavily from your very dangerous excursion. Let's go back to Mekleresh.
Okay. So, just as a question to the DM, if I use Expeditious Retreat to take my bonus action as a dash, does that mean I can dash on top of the dash
Yes.
with my movement?
Yes.
Like, I could theoretically move 90.
Yes. With Expedition Retreat, you can move 90 feet a turn.
Okay, so I have where Garish went. I'm going to cast Expeditious Retreat, and I'm going to try and run off in that direction to catch up to him.
Okay. Garish, you are still standing in the middle of the river.
I'm heading back to the cabin.
Using the same technique you used to cross, you make it to the side of the river the cabin is on, just as Mekleresh dashes up and barely screeches to a halt, seeing you at the edge of her vision. Maybe, 50 feet from the tree line?
My eyes are going to be darting around looking for the wolf. Well, the wolf man.
Make a perception check. Looking around, you look around the riverbanks, and down on the left-hand side, on the opposite side of the river, you can see some sort of wolf crawl out of the river, sniffing the air.
Yee. So it's still pretty close.
It's about 200 feet away, give or
That's
take,
wolfing distance.
but on the wrong side of the 50-foot river.
Yeah. I just feel like the river's not a good enough deterrent. I'd be like, Garish, what the hell is going on out here?
Threw it in the river.
Great, didn't kill it. There was a flower in the box.
I think it'll help.
Not really. I think it's for a potion that just makes you live longer. It's not very werewolfy.
I think we should head back
To the cabin, or...
to Griswold.
Well, I mean, we didn't see his mom in there.
I guess we can do a thorough investigation of the cabin while we have time.
Yeah, I think we could take a quick look around. I don't know if I want to stick around too long, but I'd rather be somewhere defensible if that thing's going to keep tracking us.
Yeah, I think we should investigate the cabin now.
Okay, we're going to head back to the cabin then.
Sure, you break line of sight with the river, make your way back to the cabin. I assume in a hurried pace.
Yes.
Both of you make
Does-
your way back and step back into the interior of the cabin. Now quieter with the as the sun has slowly gone lower and lower in the sky, the light seems to almost grow brighter inside here. As it is kind of a peaceful moment when you step inside.
Okay, shoot. I don't even get in here.
Can we look for anything written?
Sure, make an investigation check. The natural 20 will do it.
I see things.
Meklaresh, on the table, the small coffee table in front of the sofa, you find bits of shattered pottery and china, as well as a book. You notice on the floor next to it are some pins that have been knocked over, and either when the tree fell through, or whenever this creature came in. But as you open it up, it seems to be a journal of some sort, pinned in very curly writing. The
I'd like to go.
Yeah, the first page you look through, which appears to be the musings of someone who has decided that they are sick of the dumb fucks in town and are going to live on their own in the woods, and they don't need anybody. They got themselves. Kind of.
Can I go to the most recent entry?
Sure. As you find the most recent entry, it's still penned in the same looping, curling handwriting, and it reads, I found something in the woods today, a flower that gives off the most peculiar glow. I heard that some of the people in the Circle of Roses are looking for it. I am unsure if I should keep it safe or give it to them. It might be dangerous to keep around. I'll have to ask my son if he knows anything about this flower. And that's where it stops.
Is this dated at all?
No, there's no dates.
Okay, so I wouldn't know if this happened today, 15 days ago. Yeah.
In
I'll
the
share this-
distance, you hear an angry howl. Far off to the east. You're unsure of how loud it was or how far away it was.
I was gonna look at Garish and be like, "We're gonna have to deal with that. We're gonna have to. We're not gonna get back to town before that thing catches up with us. So maybe we could make ready some defenses in here so we don't doesn't get the jump on us."
What time is it? Is it
It's
middle
start
of the night?
it's starting to get dark.
Oh shoot!
Sun is this the right now it's like almost dark. Still like street lamps wouldn't even be on yet, but getting close.
So it's not like it's a werewolf because it's dark.
No, no, it's not a full moon sort of thing.
Could I do a nature check on werewolves?
Yeah, you could roll a nature check to just figure out what the hell that thing was.
Yeah, we've just been saying werewolf, but we don't know.
With a 10, you've certainly heard stories of men who were cursed by different things that have ended in lycanthropy. What you saw firsthand was much more terrifying than the tales had told. Impervious to most weaponry, these creatures are incredibly dangerous and highly feared among most adventurers. And with a 10, you would know that if you are bitten by one of these creatures, there is always the chance that the curse could be transferred to you.
The moon-touched rapier isn't a silvered weapon, is it?
It is not.
As a metagame, you know,
Yeah, you would also
magic
know that
weapons.
silver is the only way to harm them.
Isn't it silver or magic?
Possibly. You didn't make the
Possibly.
nature roll.
Can I make a nature roll then? I
Um,
I would love to know.
I was a yes, but a disadvantage because you never saw it.
It's true. I once saw a wolf. That's a no.
I mean, Garish hasn't said anything to you. He's just kind of been thinking to himself. Whatever that creature was scary. You know that.
I
And
heard.
it moved really fast. And with your knowledge of wolves, it seemed very unlike the wolves that you've seen before. No wolf is going to jump through a glass window to chase someone down, but this one did.
I was like, this wolf is crazy.
Do you think we could lock it up somehow?
I am doubtful. We don't really have any implements, like we don't have manacles or anything of that nature. We've got rope, but like we'd have to wrestle it down and tie it up. And like I don't see why you're so keen on saving a wolf. Like we should just take care of this.
I'm just not confident in fighting it straight on.
But you're in subduing it non-lethally and trapping it. Because I feel like one of those things is way harder than the other.
What if we got it here, had some barricade prepared, I pushing attack it into the room, and then we drop the barricade in front of the door?
We could try, but doesn't the door open inwards?
It does.
So
Oh, dang it.
yeah, like I know wolves can't open doors, but I mean they can jump through a window. We just can't open a door. Seems pretty smart.
Well, maybe we should go ahead and fight it and see what happens.
Okay. How do we want to? We've got a little bit of time maybe before it shows back up. How do we want to? Yeah, we're over here. How do we want to? You know, where should we stand for this encounter?
Maybe I stand by the door. Oh, what are you thinking?
I was thinking up here. That way, like if it comes through any of the windows, we don't have to it. Like if I'm here or here, and you're like here by the table, let's like, and we'll try and like push the table out of the way to give us clear fighting space. But yeah,
As a note, DM talking to players. I don't like to do this a lot. I'm not sure if I misspoke before, but it is impervious to any weapon that is not silver.
okay. You did say that we knew it was silver, and I
Yeah.
asked if I would know about
Like
magic.
that's what you know is that it is
Yeah.
impervious to weapons that are not made out of silver. That is what you've heard in all of the stories. It's what Garish knows.
So we'd be relying on Mick to blast it down somehow.
You could always fill a sock with a bunch of silver coins. We do have the elemental gem if we need to use it to escape.
Yeah.
Like we're not
Wait,
going to outrun this thing. Well, I
how
could, but
much
I couldn't. Go ahead.
did Griswold ever mention the use of silver as a conductor in artificing?
Not that you can remember.
We didn't really ask too much about it.
Yeah, as you look around at some of the pipes that are on the walls, trying madly to think if there's anything silver, most of the metals here appear to be a dull brown, copper or bronze, maybe.
I think he did mention copper. What about where the tree crashed?
I mean, there's a tree that's basically laying in the middle of the room. There's a large gash in the ceiling where the ceiling is partially collapsed inward. There's
There's not
about
another
a.
story, is there?
Sorry?
There's not another story, is there?
No, it's just the one story in the house.
Maybe we should keep investigating because I don't know how much I can do in the fight against it.
Okay, where do we wanna look? Like, are you trying to find like a silver weapon or information?
Either, honestly. Uh, is this dagger just a part of the map?
I mean, you looking at it, it just appears to be some sort of a knife.
Uh,
I guess I'll just like, can I just try and look for anything silver really quickly?
Yeah, I mean, you guys can make investigation checks.
I will.
I did not mean to roll
Take the number on the left.
disadvantage.
So, I mean, it's natural 20 on your
Yeah.
investigation check. Um, I mean, you look around, and most of the stuff here appears to be well made, but nothing fancy. The sofa and the small chair are lined with leathers. Um, there's the leather bound box on top of the table on the far side, and you open that up, and it just appears to me a set of teacups. But I mean, you give the house a good once over, looking quickly and trying to find anything you can. You don't see anything in here made out of silver. At least nothing that screams that it's made of silver to you.
It was a last ditch effort. I've got that wand with silver thread from the goblin.
It does have silver thread.
Uh, we're not attuned to it, but you could use it as a poke, as like a stabbing instrument. It'd be super improvised and probably break it, but it's silver.
Yeah.
All right, I will hand over the wand with silver thread to Garish.
I'll inspect it and see if it seems dagger worthy.
More like a toothpick, but
I mean, it's about a foot long. It's got silver thread that spirals up the top of it, all the way to the point, which is not a fine point, it's a dull point. The handle itself appears to be well made. It's a wand.
it's an eye poker.
Yeah.
Where are you guys standing at this moment inside the house?
Well, we were just sort of looking around for silver, like a bunch of jerks. So wherever we would probably like, I guess I would be like here, kind of, maybe over here by the bed.
Okay, so you guys would be together. You just handed him the wand, and he's taking a look
Yeah.
at it now. Okay. The door to the cabin bursts open. MacLash, you could re-roll that nature check for me if you want.
I would love to re-roll that nature check. take away advantage because for some reason I clicked advantage.
That's a werewolf.
Oh, fun. Do I know if they could be harmed by magical weapons?
It needs to be made out of silver.
Bugger.
With
They
that
can be hit with magic, though,
initiative,
right?
we'll go ahead and start back to initiative. Well, you're going to have to find out.
Oh.
Garish, you are top of initiative.
I'm going to prepare dodge.
Okay, so you are dodging then, as for your action.
Try to interpose myself between it and Mikrush.
Okay. Mekleresh is your action.
We are going to fire off one of my remaining spell slots and magic missile.
Sure, go for it. That's 9 points of force damage. As you fire off the missiles, unsure if it will harm the creature, they fire off and spread out and then collide with this creature's body, and it howls in pain as you've left blackened scorch marks and holes in its body. Seem to be
good,
effective.
that works.
Anything else you'd like to do for your turn?
I was like, I wonder if fire works.
Your expeditious retreat is no longer active. You guys spent about 20 minutes investigating.
Okay,
the way.
I was thinking how long it would take. So I can concentrate on something else, but yeah.
Yep.
Okay. With that, I'm just gonna maintain my position currently.
Sure, not a problem. It's going to go, and it's going to run straight at Garish, who dumped it in a river. Let's see, we got difficult terrain. So it gets to you, but has to clamber over the fallen tree to get to you, and cannot make an attack this turn, but it is on you. Garish, it's your action.
I'm going to use a superiority die and pushing attack
Okay, go ahead and
with Heartbreaker.
make the attack. Yeah, believe it or not, a 14 does in fact hit. And so normally you'd roll an extra d8 because of the superiority dice, but it is immune to the damage from Hordebreaker. However, it is thrown backwards by the force of the blow and slides back across to the opposite side of the tree as it stumbles and crashes over branches that break on its back as it lands prone.
Right now I'm going to back up.
Okay. Mekleresh, that'll bring us to your action.
Okay. More magic missiles.
Go for it. Again, the force of the magic missiles flies out of your hands with your very practiced arcane gesture and slams into this creature as it lays on the floor, howling in pain from the blast. You're starting to wear it down, but it still looks pretty healthy at this point.
Yay! Gonna move on back.
Okay. We're going to go with its turn. It's going to get up from prone, which is half of its movement, and then it is going to run. It runs for the door, runs out the door, and disappears into the darkness beyond.
Moving poorly.
There's a few bated breaths. You don't hear it. You're unsure where it went. You guys are no longer in initiative.
Do we want to hide in the bathroom to take a short rest? Just cover spell slots?
That won't recover any spell slots.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I need an extended rest. If we wanted to barricade ourselves in the bathroom all night, then I could. but it's dark. That thing is fast and dangerous, and I'm
Yeah,
the
we should
only
not
way we
head
have to
back.
hurt it. Yeah. Sorry?
We should not be heading back.
No. Yes, we should. I think we should barricade ourselves in the bathroom.
Well, since we're gonna be here all night, we should investigate first. This time thorough without a wolf hounding us. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything found.
Well, what would you like to investigate? Because I'm sort of like plumb out of ideas. I have no idea where Griswold's grandma is or mom. I want to say grandma for alliteration.
We haven't taken a close look at the kitchen yet.
You step over towards the kitchen itself. It appears to be heavily used. You can see long cut marks in the wooden um, planks that make up the countertop from meals long cooked. You can see a pot on a rather sophisticated looking wood burning stove. There is a large basin sink with several river fish on top of it. Which appears to be, as far as you can tell, an ordinary kitchen, ordinary-ish. Inside the basin is a pool of water, and you can see kind of a murkiness to it, where you, just through your investigation and through looking through it thoroughly, your best guess is that the werewolf took a drink before he started on the box, and the remnants of his meal kind of pooled into the water.
Okay, so we've not really taken a close look at this body. We know the state it's in, but we could try to find identification. Maybe it's like one of the people mentioned in the journal.
Well, I only skimmed the journal because we were kind of under pressure, but I didn't see any mention of other people.
Well, there's a group she mentioned that wanted the flower, right?
This is true. The Circle of Roses.
Could also spend more time looking through the journal.
Um, I check on if I know who the Circle of Roses are.
Yeah, make a history check. I would say, with your character's background, that it doesn't ring any bells to you.
Yeah.
From the way that it's phrased in the passage, you think it might be like a group, but I mean, you don't know. Living where you've lived, it doesn't ring any bells.
That's fair.
With all the pieces, it could be a coven or something.
Could also be related to Lord Silver Rose.
Mm.
There's a werewolf, Silver, and we found a rose. I don't know, just spitballing. In the meantime, I'm going to be looking for while Garish is doing thinking and stuff. I want to try and find things I could use to wedge behind the door when we're in the bathroom all night.
Yeah, I mean, there's a large, heavy trunk that you guys took time to break the lid off of. There's a sofa. There's a large chair, coffee table. There's all sorts of things that you could use to try to barricade the door. It's a
Okay, I'm
small
just
room, but you know, Garish
yeah,
is a real strong
it's not
boy.
going to be comfortable, but I want to like sort of take inventory of the sturdiest things to keep safe.
Mm.
We have a 450 pound arsenal.
You have too many weapons.
Half of that is just Garish's weight.
Just have Garrus
So, like,
lean against the door.
might not be the most comfortable sleep, but if you think that's the safest way. I was thinking like something big to wedge the entire length.
Just sleep on top of it.
Yeah, so we probably want to put like the chest behind the door, and
Yeah.
you could sleep uncomfortably on top of it.
I mean, I can sleep in chainmail. I don't think it gets much worse.
Yeah, so is there anything else you want to investigate before we lock ourselves in the tiny room? I'm gonna go in and like, I don't know, clean it out if there's anything gross in there.
No, it appears to have been reasonably maintained. It's not gross, and it looks like wherever the privy goes toward to outside. So it's not just like a bucket.
That's good. That's very good.
It looks like the bath also drains toward to the outside, so there's nothing like gross in there.
Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna go in and start setting up my sleeping bag.
You have the floor and you have the tub.
Yeah, I'm thinking the tub.
Very, very I am legend of you. Okay.
Yeah, I'm keeping the dog away instead of holding the dog close.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yep. Hmm. I just want to say that the entire time you guys are like looking around this house, you are super freaking paranoid.
Oh,
Because
most certainly.
at any point that thing could come back.
That's why I'm trying to be like, let's get in this room.
So what are you wedging the door with? The big chest?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
if we turn this upside down, it'd make a nice flat surface.
Yeah.
You to put a bit on.
Yeah, so you jam the chest inside the room. Unfortunately, it's part of the map grid, so I can't physically move it. But you guys jam it in and are safely behind a door in the corner of a small cabin in the middle of nowhere. And it is pitch black inside this room, other than a tiny sliver of light that comes through the cracks of the door.
I could make some light, but I would rather not.
I've seen enough Scooby Doo to know that it could drop through the ceiling and we'd be barricaded inside. Does the ceiling look intact?
Yeah, in this portion of the home, it looks intact.
All right.
Heavy slatted wooden beams.
If you'd be able to just burst through the roof, we would hear it coming.
Mm-hmm.
As a note, it had a hard time breaking through wooden boxes.
Yep.
It made a lot of noise.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I'm ready for bed if you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, you guys barricade yourselves inside, and is anybody staying up? Is anybody going, keeping watch, or are you guys just gonna like pass out?
I
Can
have
I
the
summon my
trigger of
cat?
warning.
What?
I summon my cat.
Poof.
Meow. I'm just gonna be like, things are weird. Please alert us if anything strange goes on, if you hear anything during the night.
Meow.
Yeah, I'd love you too. I'll give us chin scratches.
My dagger of warning will automatically wake us up if combat begins as well.
It will wake you up.
You up.
It wakes up yourself and companions within 30 feet.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, nice.
Slowly, tenuously, uncomfortably, sleep does find you. Things remain calm. At some point, you wake up. You're unsure how much time has passed. But slowly, both of you rouse from your slumber, receiving the benefits of a long rest.
Woo.
Is that hit dice restored?
You recover half of your maximum hit dice, rounded up. So Yoshi get 2 back.
Mm-hmm.
I only spent 1 yesterday, so I'm back up to full.
And I only spent 2.
Well, I only have 3 hit dice, so.
But, Mechlaresh, you wake up in the bathtub, a cat lazily sitting on you, kind of looking around nonchalantly.
Good girl.
Garish, you wake up with some minor back pain on top of a wooden chest that you nearly fell off of a couple of times in the middle of the night. You hear the sounds of birds chirping in the distance.
Okay, so. Garish, what do you think we should do today? I mean, should we go back to town? Was there. She lived out in the middle of nowhere? Or was she, like, out on the edge of some sort of border town? I forget if we knew that information.
As far as you know, you follow the directions to a T. This is exactly where Griswold told you that his mother lived.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, like, if there's, like, a village nearby, we could go to see if they're still okay.
Well,
Or if we should.
Garish could roll history to know if there's any towns that are maybe small villages or things that he might have heard about or passed by. You're not sure. You mainly stuck to the King's Road and headed north and south out of Ravens Hill. You've never really ventured to any of the side villages. You know that there are villages that are kind of offshoots and in the woods and in areas where there might be, mines that are profitable or just small communities where there's good soil or clean water. There's likely to be people. But you're not certain if there's any near you here.
Okay, the last thing that I can think of is we have the object in the parcel, and our job was to deliver it. But if she's not here, maybe installing it could fulfill that part of the contract.
Well, I mean, if she's not here and we're bringing bad news, I would probably bring it back, right?
True.
I mean, I did leave it on the floor over here because we were in the middle of fighting a werewolf, and you were like, "Take it out of the box," and it was a light bulb.
I mean, Mac doesn't know that, but yes, it was a light
Yeah.
bulb.
Like, would we even know how to install it?
Well, you never took it out of the box,
Yeah,
so as
the
far as
MP
you know, it's just a
characters
glass
doesn't
orb.
take-
Yeah, like it's literally just like a thing.
Yeah.
We're not artificers. We don't know the artificing ways.
Well, yeah, we should bring it back with us then.
I'm also gonna grab the journal to bring back with us.
Yeah, Griswold should probably look through that.
Sure.
And I think we will try and make our way back to Ravenshill.
Oh, this pack is is it a part of the map?
Yeah. Appears to be a small backpack of some kind.
I'll take a quick peek inside.
Inside, you find a coil of rope, a snare for small animals, not unlike the ones that Mech used in the past, and a crowbar.
Is the backpack gnome-sized?
No.
I'm just trying to think, is there anything gnome-sized in this house?
Looking around the house as you guys kind of like wander around and like Garish picks up the backpack and looks inside. No, it looks like this is the house for somebody who would fit comfortably in your size. Roughly.
I'm wondering if we may have been set up, or maybe it's like he was adopted. Because as far as I know, humans do not give birth to gnomes. That's my. We were with a gnome to go talk to his mom. His mom appears to be human, possibly. We never got confirmation. I just assumed his mom was a gnome. How does that sound to you, Garish? Does that track? Does that make sense?
She could have also switched, like maybe moved and been unable to inform Griswold because the communication was nexted out. But then again, why would she be living in a house of this size to begin with?
Yeah, like I feel like we either got the wrong house and things are just weird. Like we followed the instructions to a T. So either there's a worry behind Griswold on his mom, or we were set up. But I don't think we should just come out and say that when we get back. We should just be like, there's a dead human, no one gnome sized.
Also a werewolf.
Yeah, well, that's definitely part of it.
I assume you guys are talking on your way back.
Uh, yeah, I assume we were headed back
Sure,
down
no
the
problem.
same road. We're probably keeping our eyes peeled the entire time.
Oh, I
though.
imagine you guys are super paranoid for a
Yeah.
werewolf.
I even have my cat out, looking like she's riding my on my shoulder, on my backpack, like looking behind us.
Meow.
I didn't take the crowbar, by the way. This isn't a dungeon.
No problem. I assume you just left the pack behind then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't loot the house.
Yep. So just for my records, you're taking the jar, the journal,
Yes.
and the package.
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay. Great. Let me make a note. All right. After a couple hours of travel, you find yourselves back outside the gates to Raven Hill. Your journey, if not uneventful, but full of paranoia and being worried about this creature that might still be stalking you. If it is, it has not shown itself.
I'm feeling a little more relief now that we're in sight of the city walls.
You pass through the guards who again question you, making sure you're not goblins or cohorts of goblins. And you make your way back into the city proper. You find yourselves at the north gate. Where would you like to go?
We should head straight to Griswold's.
I was gonna say I want to go straight to Griswold's.
Sure. Taking an early left and avoiding the Fang Market altogether, you find yourselves near the East Tower. There is a large gear that bears the name of your charge, Griswold, on the outside.
Okay, I want to put on a super beleaguered and tired face before we walk in. Like, I really want to play up that I am exhausted.
I don't need to pretend.
Garish, you look at Mech and you watch her expression change, like, to way too exhausted, and it's almost obvious how much she's faking it beyond the incredible amount of exhaustion she already has after a day of fighting goblins, sleeping in a bathtub, and nearly being killed by a werewolf.
Hey, it didn't bite us. I managed to drive it off with my one of my. I had one spell slot left. If it got any worse, I was gonna have to get into melee with it, and I was not keen.
I was so fleet of foot, I did not take a single hit.
You punched a werewolf into a river. That's a beautiful scene in my head.
That whole sequence was a lot of good luck and style.
Yeah.
When she ran off into the woods alone and left me alone, I was like, "Well, someone's gonna die here."
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of thinking the same thing.
I was like, in my head, I'm like, don't split the party. And Gary, then you were like, yeah, I'm leaving. I
Yeah,
was like, ah,
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of envisioned that would go very differently. But it worked out in the end. So good on you guys.
yay.
But yeah, you guys are outside of Griswold's shop.
Okay, let's go in.
You open the door to the very familiar interior with strange devices and machines, as well as a familiar gnome with far too large glasses that make him seem incredibly bug-eyed, sitting at a countertop, messing with some type of metallic parts that he's trying to like fit together. In one hand, he's got a wrench, and the other he has some sort of almost looks like a jeweler's glass, where he's like looking at something very fine on the part he's working on. He doesn't seem to take notice of you when you walk in the door. Seems very absorbed in what he's doing.
I'm gonna do like the sort of attention getting cough, like,
Oh, I'm terribly. You're back. You were gone for a long time. I expected you back yesterday. Everything all right?
We have been through a lot.
You sure
yeah.
look worse for wear.
We have some potentially bad news. First question I have to ask: is your mother a gnome?
Edith? Lord, no.
Oh, then I have
Did you run into a gnome at her house?
no would have assumed incorrectly that your mother would also be a gnome.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't specify before. No, she's a half elf, I suppose.
Well, we do have some bad news. We think she may have been attacked by a werewolf because
If
there
his
was
eyes could grow wider, they did. Um, I'm sorry. What?
yeah. When we arrived, there was a scene of mayhem,
Oh,
and it looked like there'd been some sort of struggle. But we did identify a body.
well. Um. How did you know it was a werewolf that did this?
We saw it. We fought it. We didn't kill it, but we managed to drive it back.
Oh well, that's troubling.
Yeah, we need to report this to someone after we're done with
Wait,
you.
were either one of you bitten? He looks suddenly very afraid of the two of you.
No, no, no. It
Not
didn't
a
get close
scratch.
enough for that.
All right, all right. Well,
I'm
huh.
going to take the package and journal out of my pack.
Thank you. That was um, her diary, I suppose. She started. I convinced her to start keeping notes when she left town. She was very adamant, and no one in the family could convince her otherwise. That's all right. I'll have to let everyone know. Maybe send some guardsmen out there to collect her. Whew. I believe I owe you payment for this. He kind of is like kind of wide-eyed still and kind of looking a little lost in himself. Um, yes, and he kind of goes around the counter and you see him produce a small box from behind the counter and sets it up. Um, I think it was 20 gold for the package delivery, and I appreciate you bringing it back to me. That will save me some time moving forward. Um, and he counts out 20 gold and sets it on the counter. Um, well then, thank you, I suppose.
Truly sorry we couldn't. We weren't fast enough.
That's all right. That's all right. These things happen when you decide to not live within the city's walls with guards, men that protect you every day. Werewolf. That's terrifying. Um, at the very least, I'm glad the two of you are unharmed. I would not have been okay with sending people to their deaths on my conscience. Feel really bad about that. I'm really sorry.
It seemed that the communications were knocked out by a fallen tree that struck the cabin.
It makes a lot of sense, actually. If the pipes are disturbed, it will stop the network. Um, I would send someone out to go fix it, but now no one lives there, so not really important. You also, excuse me, I think I need to close up shop and go talk to some people about bringing my mother in.
Of course. And
Uh,
I'll collect half the gold and sort of pass the other half to Garish.
the last journal entry mentions that she might want to show the flower to Griswold, right?
No, the Circle of Roses. Oh no, she did want to ask her son about it. Uh, yeah, I guess I'll take the flower out and be like, would you happen to know anything about this?
His eyes go from kind of like dazed to curious when you pull the bottle out. Um, that's a very interesting thing. It seems maybe arcane in nature. It's not really my forte. Might be something you should probably ask an alchemist about.
Say, this seems to be what the werewolf was after. So
Well, I'm not sure how my mother would have gotten such a thing. She mainly kept to herself.
We should leave the journal with him, I think.
Yeah,
I already handed it over.
Okay.
as a note, if the werewolf was looking for that, I don't want that anywhere near my shop. So just take it with you when you go. Thank you.
All right.
Okay. We certainly will.
Right. I do need to close up shop now. So out you go. He starts pushing on Garish, who is not moved at all by his small gnomish frame.
So I had 10 gold, right?
Yep, 10 gold each.
Yeah.
All right. Leaving.
You guys step back out in the shadow of the east tower. Where would you like to go?
He said he would report, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we should focus on this flower, I think.
Yeah, and maybe turn in these goblin ears before they start getting ripe.
That's a good point.
They are turning a little green as you open up your bag and look at them. I mean, they already were green, right? Because goblins are... Never mind.
Yeah. Well,
Greener.
goblins can be brown in D&D. I've seen brown goblins.
They are starting to spoil. You did keep them for, like, 20 hours, so...
Yeah. So, do we know where we would turn these in?
You know that the scoreboard was in the bar.
I guess we could go back to the bar and just sort of inquire about the scoreboard and where we turn them in.
Yeah.
I mean,
The bar whose name I didn't write down. It's not in my notes.
I have it here somewhere.
Something rooster.
I definitely have it written down, and I'm not stalling for time while I look through my notes to find it. It's almost certainly here.
I definitely have it written in my notes that we showed up at the
It's definitely in my notes. It is either the Merry Chicken or the Blue Horn.
the Merry Chicken.
There we go.
I found it in my notes.
Yeah, the Merry Chicken.
Yep.
And I was like, there are inn names on here. I just don't remember which one it was. I'm definitely organized for everyone who's watching this later on the internet. Definitely organized, very good DM here who definitely keeps very concise notes that aren't at all unclear.
I just save my current notes and then open the old notes and then scroll down. But yes, the Merry Chicken. Yeah, we'll go back to the Merry Chicken.
Are you guys going to cut through the Fang Market, or are you going to head straight there?
Um, I'd really like to offload these first and get it's 10 gold per goblin year, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was what you were. That was what was displayed on the bounty board.
Yeah, I would love to have gold before going back to the market.
Sure, not a problem. You all make your way, giving the Fang Market a wide berth, and find yourselves back at the Merry Chicken. Pushing in the double doors, it seems less lively than it was yesterday. A lot less curious customers this time of day. You do notice with the kind of groupings of people that there is one individual who is off in a corner by themselves, and no one is sitting remotely close to them. They have their back to you, wearing a dark cloak, and you can see spools of silver-colored hair that are kind of spooling off in curls and falling on their shoulders beyond the cloak. They seem to be drinking something on the other side. You can't quite tell from your view in the doorway, but it seems like no one else in the inn is willing to go anywhere near this individual. Other than that, you do not see Keith inside the bar, and the only other patrons of note that you notice is the halfling woman is still at the counter, as well as a man dressed in heavy furs at the center table talking to another human. As well as the dwarven bartender is still behind the counter.
Oh. I think we would just go to the bartender, no?
You
That
lot are
seems
back.
weird.
Your rooms are still here. You decided not to stay with us last night?
We got caught up with something when we went out to run an errand for Griswold. Werewolves.
How does Aaron go? How is old Edith?
Uh, the errand went poorly, and Edith is no longer with us because of werewolves.
Werewolves, you're pulling my beard.
I surely wish I was.
Good lord, werewolves.
At least one.
Well, I suppose we'll be having to put a bounty out for werewolves should a couple more people see it. Anyways, what are you back for? Drink? Information? More stories?
Well, speaking of bounties, we did encounter some goblins out there, and we were wondering where we would turn those in.
Hi! I knew I liked you folks. How many you got for me? And he reaches under the counter and pulls out a box that is full of rotting ears.
Uh, yeah, 3 apiece.
3 apiece. You all enter in the competition together then.
Team tall and small.
We're both tall, though.
I forgot.
Tall and tall. I don't know, team red-green?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll put you on the board when you two decide. Have a drink, talk it over. But I'll enter you together. So 6 ears total?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Remove them.
He reaches under the counter and pulls out one large pouch, sets it down. He pulls out 2 small pouches and puts 30 gold coins each into each one of the smaller pouches and slides them across the counter towards you.
Thank you kindly.
By the way, every time you turn into some goblin ears, you get a free drink. One's on me. What do you want?
Can I have some cider?
Yeah, of
just
course.
one
We got
for
a cask in the back.
Just
You cut out there.
just wine for me.
Glass of wine. Might have some elven stuff in the back, too. Let me take a look. Grab a table. I'll have somebody bring it out to you.
I want to go over to this table close to by to where that woman is that no one is approaching.
Sure, not a problem. She doesn't seem to take notice of you. She seems to just be kind of swirling her wine glass in her hands As you get a little closer, you can see she's got about half a glass of wine there, as well as a bottle that's uncorked on the table.
Hmm.
As you kind of look her over, trying to be as discreet as possible without staring. Oh, I guess with Mech, you would just be staring at her.
Yeah.
You can tell that her skin tone isn't pink. It's almost purple with how pale. Like it's like a very, very pale purple color. And her fingers are long and slender. What does Garish do?
Garish is gonna tiredly sit here.
Yeah, so you aren't discussing the name. Got it. Yeah, you sit down, hunker up next to the appears to be a downtrodden halfling wearing bits of leather armor that have long, deep scratches in some parts of it. She's got a short sword on her belt and a bunch of knives that are all pressed into a bracer. She's got a mug of ale in front of her. Eventually, your drinks are brought to both of you. A serving girl runs one to Mech's table. The bartender sets down a cider in front of you.
I'm just going to drink my wine slowly and like I guess like it's pretty obvious that I was looking at her. But like I also stand out in the bar, so I'm kinda hoping she'll like look at me and we'll do like the locked eyes thing, be like, hey, what's up? With like the head nod.
Well, she's not there. Hold on. She's like here.
Oh, she's like
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
and
she's
she's
like here
faced
at a
away.
chair, and she has her back to you. But
Okay.
as you watch her for some time, she pulls out a thick leather bound book off of her belt. She like unclips it from a clasp and sets it on the table, and begins to pull out of her side pack. You can see her profile as she turns into looks and starts pulling things out of her pack, pulling out what appears to be glittering inks out of her satchel on the side. Her profile is very elven in nature, but still has that kind of very pale purple look to it. And her her eye that you can see is white. There's only the faintest bit of difference between the whites of her eyes and the actual colored portion of her eye. It is almost a very, very light gray.
Uh could I make a oh would that be nature to see if I recognized if she's what race she is?
I would say for you, for Mech, it would be history.
Oh, okay. Badoo, badoo.
Definitely elven heritage, but not wood elf or high elf like you've been privy to before. She doesn't appear to be a half elf. She appears to be pure blooded elf, whatever she is, but you're unsure. It's not something you've ever seen before.
Hmm.
But she sets the book in front of her and begins to dip her quill in the ink and slowly begins to scrawl something on the page. You can see her movements are very fluid and with a lot of purpose. And every once in a while, through her writing, she pauses, sets the quill down on the table, thinks, takes a few sips of wine, and then continues. From the angle you're at, it does not appear that she's writing anything more than drawing or sketching or. Um, it reminds you of when you work in your spellbook.
Okay. Um Jeez. Do I want to yeah, Megarish is kind of a busybody loose weirdo. So I'll pick up my glass of wine and just sort of walk over and approach and be like, hello. It's always nice to, see someone else practicing the arcane arts. My name's Resh. How are you?
She pauses from her work and turns and looks up at you. And both of her eyes are that very, very light gray. She responds, Ivana, please have a seat. It's good there's some good company in the bar.
Is that the name of the elf we were told to look for?
I do not believe you were ever given a name. You were given a picture, but not a name.
Okay.
So what mysteries of the arcane are you trying to unravel yourself?
Well, that's the thing. I'm very much a student. There's still so much to explore and see. I'm not certain if I have a set goal.
Well, everyone strives for greatness, or wants magic for one reason or another.
What brings you to town?
Well, traveling, I suppose. Looking for some people that did some things that I would like to repay. Their lack of kindness, shall we say.
I understand very much the need for that. We are also tracking someone, though we don't have many leads at the current moment.
Wouldn't happen to be another drow, would it?
No, we're looking for a dragonborn.
There's plenty of those around. Think there's one chauvinistic male in the general store who does not like my company very much.
This one is very... She's female. She wears some very dark gray robes. Goes by the name of Two.
She looks bewildered.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever heard of this individual. Maybe if there's any distinguishing characteristics. I've seen lots of people in my travels.
As a side note, I can't remember. Did Two have a big scar?
As a reminder,
Or
make a intelligence check to try to remember to pull up details of the very brief flashes of visions you had. Just click the button next to intelligence.
yeah,
Works for me.
I'm just getting
The
back to
save
that
is the
page.
same, I believe.
Yeah. I just
Trying to recall the bits and brief flashes of visions, you know that she has a burn scar in the shape of a C over her right eye. So it goes from the top of her, from about mid forehead, all the way down to her lower cheek.
she has a large burn, and I'll sort of like trace where the outline of the burn would be with my finger. I believe that's her most defining characteristic.
Suddenly, Ivana looks very curiously at you. Really? I didn't think any had escaped. Well, torn their shackles off, by that means.
Oh, does this seem familiar to you?
Oh, yes. There is a landmass far to the east of Arcadia. I believe it is north of Curacao, known as Cybele. Have you heard of it?
I don't believe McElrush would have heard of it. So I'll
So,
sort of like just shake my head no.
I suppose that not everyone can travel the world. So in Cybele, mages, anyone practitioners of the arcane arts, are imprisoned and given runes, which, should they ever disobey the orders of those who have captured them, would kill them. It would burn holes through their flesh in the shape of the rune.
It sounds awful.
They've had some bad history in Cybele with mages, necromancers, evokers, illusionists, many mages who've abused their power. It's their culture, nothing more. It's unusual to hear about any who had escaped the wrath or the chains, but not impossible.
Well, from what she's done, it sounds like maybe she should be in chains once again.
Hmm. Suppose that's between her and her former master.
Hmm.
Of course, in Arcadia, there is no such laws binding spellcasters, though
Thankfully.
lobbing gouts of fire at buildings is generally frowned upon.
Of course.
But I digress. I would say, if you are searching for this individual, your best chance would be to find out more information on Cybele. I would love to give you a history lesson, darling, but I don't think that's necessary right now.
Well, maybe we'll be able to chat more in the future. We'll be in town for a while, if you'll still be here. We're actually staying in this inn.
I'm not sure how long I'll be hanging around for. Like I said, people that have earned their due are out there in the world, and, well, I owe them a few things.
Of course. If there's any info you're looking for, maybe we could be of assistance. We do hear and see things.
Of course. I'm looking for 3 men, darker complexion than myself, and a woman who leads them. If you see these individuals around, well, if we meet again, you can always let me know.
Of course. I will certainly keep my eyes out for them. Uh, should I be wary of them?
Oh yes, very. They're quite dangerous. I believe
Oh,
they're looking for slaves at the moment.
well, I have no desire to live my life in chains, so.
Oh, stick to the city and you'll be fine. They usually hunt on the outskirts. Well, anywhere above ground, I suppose, is fair game for them.
Well, if I hear any news, I will be sure to let you know.
Hmm.
That sort of thing would probably stand out for people.
Hmm.
With that, I'll sort of just like give her a little toast with the leftover bits of wine I have, and I'll go back to Garish.
She watches you walk away. And then when you're finally with Garish, she returns to her work. Garish, what are you doing during Mech's conversation?
I have just been quietly relaxing with my cider.
Yeah.
No, you're not talking to the halfling beside you.
It's been a long night.
It has been. Um, After the first cider, you're brought another one free of charge. Bartender doesn't even say anything. He just pours you a new glass. I've seen warriors come back from hard days before. I know you knew when you need another one.
Appreciated.
But eventually, Mech does join you up at the counter.
Are you almost ready to go, Garish? Um, we did certainly pick up a few things. It might be worth going to resupply at the market. And if we're going to encounter a werewolf out there anymore, I imagine you'd like to be suitably armed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me just finish this drink.
And then Garish takes forever to finish his drink.
Yeah, he needs it.
While we're at the inn, I'm actually going to drop off. Buttercup's feed in my room because I don't need to carry that around with me.
Sure, no problem. You head over to your room and you open up your pack, pull the extra feed out, and as you pull it out, the obsidian stone knocks against the knuckles of your hand, almost reminding you of its presence.
Yeah. It was kind of a fraught night in pitch black in the bathtub, so I didn't really have a chance to look at it. Since we're getting out soon, I'm just going to take a quick look at it to read what's written on the surface of the stone. Nutty, but now that I have a chance, I will read it proper.
It takes some time to watch the lights of the candlelight kind of flicker across the stone as you turn it and twist it and slowly read the words that are written in primordial. And the words almost seem to speak to you. Bend the web to me. Follow the stones. If you wish for knowledge and power, all you need do is read the words who were left behind. Of those who were left behind. When you can crack the sky and make the glass of gods, these truths will echo through you. Bend the web, weave the words, and follow this voice.
I'm just going to start in the room. I'm alone, but I'm just going to whisper to myself, crack the sky, glass of the gods? And then I'm going to put the slab back in my pack and fasten it and go back out to meet Garish.
Sure.
He's done with the cider.
My cat's just following me around. Love it. Okay, where should we go first? I mean,
I think the market is necessary.
yeah, I mean, we could go back to see Claudius Willow.
Mm-hmm. Get some
He's
waters.
He's a purveyor of magical goods. Maybe he could tell us about this wand I picked up. And he might buy some of the things we found. We also have this heart amulet or medallion.
And the lotus, of course.
Yes, I mean, it might be more alchemical, but
Well, there could be a few people who can appraise items.
I mean, if we're looking for potions, we'll probably end up at an alchemist anyway.
Mm.
Yeah. To start, I guess we'll go see Willow.
We should also pick up rations while we're at the market.
Yes, that's another thing we need.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Let me go back to my notes here with what he has and what those things are. Okay. So you make your way back to the Fang Market. And when you arrive, it's just as bustling as it was yesterday. The day prior, because you guys slept and then went out in the morning. In either case, you guys make your way back to the Fang Market, which is just as bustling as you remember. Merchants and hagglers of all kinds, of all types of knickknacks, and fresh foods, and bread, and pastries, and everything under the sun you could think of is here, being sold by vendors out of storefronts. And you see the familiar carriage with the side pulled down and several gemstones glistening in the sunlight on the velvet mat in front, as well as the very well-dressed Claudius in front of the cart. Welcome back.
Hello. Hi.
It's an absolute pleasure to see you, Mekhlaresh and Garish. Business is good. Business is always fantastic.
Poison hasn't caused you any trouble, has it?
Oh, no. I managed to sell it to a few folks who were just collectors of that sort of thing, but not planning on using it.
That's good to hear.
You'd be surprised what some of the nobility in the city are interested in collecting. Just sort of odd things for the most part. But I was assured by no less than two sources that they would not be using this sort of thing.
Well, that's always fantastic news.
Mm.
We did find a few items on our travels. If you would like to take a look at them, we may actually require your services in identifying
Oh, by all means, I am
more
happy
about
to oblige.
Okay, first I'm going to start with just like the 2 copper rings and the gold ring. And just those out to
Uh,
see if they're worth anything.
he waves his hand in front of his face, drawing a rune, and his eyes flash with a brief blue as he just kind of glances over them. Well, these rings themselves are not magical. Did you have anything else?
I'm going to take out the goblin wand, the heart medallion, and the forgotten lotus next.
That is a thing of beauty, he says, looking at the lotus. But let me identify these other two, because I know what that is. And he reaches and grabs a maybe like ping pong sized pearl off of the mat and begins to draw glyphs around it. And as he finishes drawing the glyph, it takes some time, but as he finishes drawing the glyph, he taps the medallion and says, I know exactly what this is. This is a parataph of wound closure. It is a fantastic item that can close wounds. However, it basically uses the body's natural energy to do so, as well as if you are harmed when you are in dangerous encounters, it will prevent you from expiring early, we shall say.
Oh, that's most fortuitous.
Now
That's sort
for
of like,
for your wand. He once again draws the runes around the pearl itself and begins doing his arcane gestures. And when he finishes, he says, well, this is a fine thing indeed. This is what is known as a Wand of the War Mage. These are very rare wands that can greatly increase the accuracy of spells that are channeled through them. Very nice finds.
Both equipment we could use.
very much so.
Both of these require a bit of yourself to be put in them, and in turn kind of link you with the objects, but they're both very, very powerful. Of course, did you had questions about your Forgotten Lotus? Or were you willing to sell it?
Well, we found it in the in a chest that a werewolf was attacking. So we're not quite certain what its relation to them is.
Werewolf? Why would a werewolf want a Forgotten Lotus?
That's precisely what we were thinking. So we're hoping to find out more about it.
Well, I can tell you as much as I know. I've traded with this sort of thing before, once. I was told by a fine gentleman that the Forgotten Lotus can be used to reach into the ethereal plane. It also can be used in a proper distillation with an alchemical stone, be made into a elixir of life, which will extend your natural life, not by an incredible amount, but should you find enough of them, you could theoretically live for thousands of years. But I'm not quite sure what a werewolf would want with it. There are cures for different curses. I'm sure there's a cure for lycanthropy out there somewhere in the world. That's not something that I've ever looked into. Perhaps he knew of its value.
Let's say he may have just been looking to do a trade. He was not intent on diplomacy. He seemed very agitated and frustrated and not willing to talk.
Oh, most animalistic beings tend to be that way. And, from what I've heard of lycanthropy, it's been one of those sorts of things where when you are taken by the curse, it takes over. There's been people in my travels who've claimed to have been cursed by the curse of lycanthropy, and they couldn't tell me how they cured it, but they said that they had no control over their actions. But to be honest with you, I don't know that I believe them.
Hmm. Well, maybe we'll have to take this to an experienced alchemist, and maybe they might be able to provide us with some more. Im, im, I cannot find the words. Some more, pertinent answers to our queries.
I suppose. If you do decide to sell it, I'd be more than happy to buy it.
Of course. I know these copper rings are probably a bit below your.
Oh no! By
Threshold
by
of
by all
value.
means, if you're willing to sell jewelry, I'm willing to buy it. I can always transmute the metals into other metals and add gemstones and things to help sell them.
Of course, they are just simple rings. How much would you give me for these three? Just for the 2 copper and 1 gold.
The 2 copper rings, I'd be more than happy to give you 15 gold pieces. From the gold ring, I'd give you 25. Of course, together, if you're looking to trade, I would give you, say, 50 gold off of any item of your choice.
How much was the necklace of magic missiles again?
The necklace
Was that 20 platinum?
As a note, when you remember him saying it was 20 platinum, but he does not have it on display. It's on a special display that's hidden
Yes, of
inside
course.
the carriage.
Wait, so he said it's 15
And
each
25.
for.
No, it's
Is it
15 for
15?
both,
Oh, okay. I was
and
going to say,
25
wow.
for the gold ring.
I was going to say, he is swindling me if he's like, yeah, you can get 15 plus, 30 plus 25. Or I'll give you 50 in trade in.
Claudius is many things, but he is not a swindler.
So he's the EV Games of people. I don't know if I have enough. Because it's 10 gold to a platinum.
Yep.
So I have a diamond worth 10 platinum. Oh, that would suck all my money out. I think we'll just take the gold for now. Unfortunately, we're still just shy of being able to make some purchases.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. But of course, he slides the rings over to the rest of the things that he has on the cart and produces a small box, and he pulls out the gold and hands it to you. Take 40 gold.
Yep. I'll hand 20 over to Garish since we're sharing the loots. Garish, I forget if you picked anything up. Oh yeah, well I hand over the rest are going to give Garish the proactive wound closure as well.
Okay.
Because it's more valuable to you than it is to me.
Okay, you now have the item card in your held items. And
I don't know if you have enough attunement slots currently. That's something for you to figure out.
You do.
I still only have Hordebreaker attuned, I'm pretty sure.
I believe the Dagger of
Dagger.
Warning is also attunement.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have one more.
Yep.
Yeah,
Those
so
are the only
this will
three.
be your third.
Anything for you today, Garish? Anything to sell, trade, purchase?
Do you happen to have any silvered weapons?
Right, for the werewolf. I think I might have a silver short sword. Possibly. I believe it is Githyankin craft. It's a very expensive item, but I would be willing to sell it to you.
How expensive compared to the other items? Or on a special display?
Since it doesn't have any magical properties, I was planning on imbuing it with something myself. I would say 50 gold pieces.
Oh, that's not bad.
Of course, for the two of you, 45.
So that would be a normal short sword with the silvered attribute, right?
Yes, it is a silvered short sword. And if you're planning on buying it, he'll pull down the magic item rack and he'll pull it out two more pegs. And as he pulls it out two more pegs, the short sword comes down the flap with it. And it is beautiful. It has twisting runes that crawl up the blade, and it has a large ruby in the hilt.
Yes, I will buy that.
It's always a pleasure doing business with you.
Right.
As a note, this is a silvered weapon. It will easily harm a werewolf. However, it is a silver alloy and is not quite as fragile as weapons that are normally made out of silver. It's a very durable weapon. But nonetheless. And as you look at the rack he pulled out, the necklace is still there. The glove with like the fiery feathers, the gauntlet is still there, but the sword that he had there previously is not.
Bugger. We'll just make note of that.
Well, like I said before, if there's anything else you'd look to pick up, I have gems, jewelry. Not quite sure what your specialties are to suggest other useful knickknacks.
Well, I'm a practitioner of the arcane arts, so I'm still very interested in that necklace.
That's
but
right.
I'm just. It unfortunately would clean me out, and I would be ill able to afford to live.
I think we've all been there. I wish I could bring the price down for you. I could, but unfortunately, 20 platinum is already a discount.
Yes, of course. I wouldn't want you to, put yourself in risk of losing out on profits for me.
Of course. I would also be very remiss to be without the necklace, but it is always for sale. Everything always is.
Yeah. Just as a note, how much would you offer for this? Forgot if we were to come back with it.
The Forgotten Lotus. I would give you 40 platinum.
My eyes will go a little wide at that. It's a lot of money.
It's a very rare
Very
component
good.
used in very rare things. I myself would likely use it to make a weapon.
Well, Garish, is there anything else you would like to do here?
Not right now. I
Okay.
guess silvered weapon was the biggest part of my agenda here.
Yeah. As a note, I just realized I could have used my my transmutation thing to make one of your weapons silver last night. It would have taken 10 minutes.
Is silver an option on that?
It is.
Yep, it is.
But it would have taken 10 minutes of concentrating on doing this transmutation, which would have been difficult. And if it was interrupted and if I lost concentration at any point, no more silver.
A minute for every foot of Poltran.
As a DM note, I had forgotten that you could do that.
As a player note, so did I. I was just looking over it, just looking at my character sheet, and I was like, "Oh yeah, oops." But it would have been pure silver, so it would have warped and bent super easily.
That's true. That's true. It would have deformed a non magical item if you changed it.
Yeah.
So something improvised would have been best, probably.
Well, I do have a short sword on me that I probably would have used. So like it would have given you like 2 attacks probably before it got unusable. But better than dying.
Nobody died. It was fine.
Yeah, no one got bit. We're fine. With that, I guess we will go and try and find an alchemist.
Okay. Are you going to look around the Fang Market? Are you going to try to have Garish lead you to see if he remembers anything?
I will follow Garish's lead. If he
Well,
thinks we'll find a better alchemist in the market, or if there's a known store.
can I roll for knowledge?
Yeah, you can roll we'll say history with advantage because you've been to this town before. Yeah, with your background, I would say you would almost certainly know where to find a source of healing potions at the very least. Um, so yeah, you lead Meklaresh to one end of the Fang Market into a dusty old building, and when you open the door, it smells like heavy incense inside. There's an old woman sitting in front of some flasks and beakers, and she's very carefully pouring one into the other. She's got one eye closed, watching the drip very slowly.
I'm gonna hold up my hand to Mech to stop.
Yeah, so you don't interrupt.
After a few seconds, she pours the remain. It probably seems like an eternity it takes for her to pour one container into the other. And then she sets down the first flask, shakes the other one, and you can see bits of granules in the bottom that are slowly spinning up and turning the liquid an almost dark brown as she sets it down on a burner on the side. She looks up at you. Very kind of you to not interrupt me making my coffee. What can I do for you two this morning?
Uh, we are adventurers in need of healing potions. If you have any in supply.
I've got some healing potions, 4 or 5 that had more, but the makeshift militia the south gate bought most of them. But I've got a
Of
couple.
course. How much?
She turns and looks over one of her shoulders at one of the counters in the back. I've got 2 basic healing potions that close up your wounds really good. Uh, one superior healing potion and one greater. I guess I only got 4 in stock today. If you're looking for the lessers, they're 50 gold each.
Dove, can you take over for a second? I really need to run and use the bathroom.
Sure. 50 gold each. Dang. These are the same potions. The
Yep.
lesser ones
Yeah,
are the ones
just a
we
regular.
had.
Yeah, it's just a regular healing potion.
2d4 plus 2.
Yep. She pauses after she tells you the price of those because you both kind of looked taken aback by the price. I think the other ones might be a little out of your price range, though.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for something basic, I've got some poultices and a healer's kit I threw together. Might be able to help you close up some wounds on the road.
Sure, I'll take a look at those.
Sure, not a problem. She pulls out a small metal box, sets it on the counter, and opens it up. It's got bandages, what appears to be kind of coated with some sort of antiseptic. You see thread, twine. Wow, there's like no explanation of what this item is in the manual. But yeah, it has several bandages that are covered with salves, several small bottles of what appear to be ointment, several small lengths of wood that you could use as splints on the inside.
Is this a sort of item you'd use on a short rest?
It's the kind of item you would use if somebody is bleeding out in front of you and you need to stabilize them.
Ah, okay. How much for that?
Well, for the healer's kit, let me think. I put it together last week. The poultices and things. Why can't I find the price for this? And 1 second. Well, that'll put you back 5 gold pieces, but I figure you got enough stuff in there to stop about, 10 wounded soldiers worth.
That's pretty good. I'll take that.
Not a problem, not a problem.
Really sorry about that. I'm back.
Garish bought a healer's kit while you were gone.
Oh,
The
thanks.
potions are out of our price range.
Yeah, they seemed a bit expensive. I mean,
They are quite expensive, but they're also very expensive to make.
they're invaluable for us as well.
Hmm.
I'm actually going to hand over 50 gold pieces for one of the lesser healing potions.
Sure, not a problem.
So I'll go back up to 2. Can't spend money when you're dead.
Absolutely right.
Healer's kit was 5 gold, right?
Yeah, it's 5 gold. And if I give you the information for that, the kit has 10 uses. As an action, you can expend 1 use of the kit to stabilize a creature that has 0 hit points without needing to make a medicine check. That's what it does.
Yeah. Well, you have the necklace, the medallion to do that for you, so having that on you to do that for me is
Mhm.
pretty helpful.
I think I will also tell you where I keep it on my person, so if you do need to use it, you'll know where it is.
That's helpful. Thank you. Did you mention the lotus?
Not yet.
Okay, so I didn't catch her name.
The sign outside just said herbal remedies, so it wasn't given or posted.
I'm just gonna ask. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch her name.
It's Gloria.
Gloria, do you know much about rare alchemical ingredients?
Well, I'm an alchemist. I would sure hope so.
Okay. I'm going to take out the Forgotten Lotus.
I think I've read about this. Never seen one myself. It's very beautifully preserved. Still alive, which is a feat. I can tell you what I've read, if you care to listen.
Of course. Any information will be helpful.
Um, I believe what you have here is a forgotten lotus. It is a remnant from the old world. It said the gods themselves showered the world with these, and as the world consumed the power they had within, they slowly wilted and went away, and were slowly forgotten by the people. You could use something, if you had a skilled enough alchemist, you could make a potion that could thwart death for a small amount of time. As well, I've heard it's had other alchemical applications, but I don't know them myself.
So you wouldn't know of any reason a lycanthrope would be after this.
Lycanthrope? You mean like a werewolf?
Yes, precisely, in fact.
I certainly can't say. It doesn't make much sense to me, unless the werewolf were looking to live for longer.
Well, the mystery escapes us. Would you have any use for such an item, or?
Personally, I don't know how to work it. I could learn, but it would take some time. To be honest with you, I already have enough of my hands full making healing potions for most of the people who live around here, as well as poultices and healer's kits like I've sold your friend.
Of course. It just seemed, we are looking to maybe part ways with it if it's not pertinent to our investigation. It just seems to be
Well,
something odd of note.
well, if you're looking to sell it or find an alchemist that can work it, and you find yourself in guiding light, you could try it the radiant drop. My mentor
Oh,
lives there. He might know how better to work it.
3D and drop. And what is your mentor's name?
Um, well, he's got a lot of names. He changes them about once every few weeks. Last I checked, he was going by Alex. I think Alex the Great and Fantastic and Wonderful. It's a mouthful. I wrote his name as Alex in my last correspondence.
Well, if we're ever, when we make our way to Guiding Light, if we still have it in our possession, we'll be sure to look him up.
Absolutely. Is there anything else I can get for you?
Not that I can think of, but are there any materials that you would be looking to buy if we encountered them?
Bog root is one. I can never have enough of it. You could also get spariel, which is used in making healing potions. If you brought me enough of it, might even give you one for free.
How would that be spelt, just for my notes?
Spariel.
Okay, cool.
Could we have her teach us how to identify it?
Yeah, that's not the problem. She reaches behind the counter and she pulls out a large, thick, like haft of papers that's been held together with twine. She puts it down and she opens it up. She flips through a few pages. You can see different plants, some that have puffballs, some that are flowers, some that are leaves. And eventually she makes her way to the entry on spariel, and it is almost a tulip-like flower that bends and curves upward, and almost a how do I describe that in a way that makes sense and doesn't sound dumb? It's almost like a cupped hand, but it's like a tulip, so it's kind of got a curve to it. They're bright orange. They're usually found in glades. So anywhere with long-standing water, maybe slowly moving with fresh water, you might be able to find some.
Bog root?
Bog root is deep black. It looks like roots that stretch outward. When you wash it, the black turns into a dull pale white.
And I assume we would find that in bogs.
Of course.
We'll be sure to keep our eyes open for these alchemical ingredients for you when we're out.
Not a
It
problem.
never hurts to make friends and money.
Of course. I'd be happy to pay you for them. I'd have to know how much I'm getting from you before I give you an amount, but I'd pay well for these.
Of course. And of course, quality and, freshness are always important.
If you do manage to find spariel, you can keep it in an airtight jar. If you find bog root, try to keep it submerged.
Okay.
Also, don't burn the bog root.
Oh, dangerous when burned?
It can releases toxic vapors. It is usually distilled to making potions that make you more resilient to physical harm. But the kind of products that are released otherwise are dangerous.
Well, we don't typically use much fire, but that's good to know. We'll be sure to avoid it, if at all possible.
Well, I appreciate you asking about things I need. It's very rare that I get some people come in and want to help me.
Of course.
Well, we thank you so much for your time today, Gloria. We'll leave you to your coffee.
Thank you. And she kind of lifts up the flask and she pours it into a glass. Kind of, she puts like a paper filter on it, like cups it around this thing and puts a metal clamp on it and pours it out into a cup. Thank you much. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
And you as well. As we leave, Garish, is there anything else we want to do at the shops?
Ration.
Rations, so a general store.
Yeah. You guys can either buy like pre-packaged rations or you can buy like fresh food in the market. There's vendors of all kinds and types that are peddling, fresh cuts of meat, jerky, street food, sandwiches, fruits, vegetables.
I think lasting food would be best.
I would say, I am of the similar mind where I would prefer, eating fresh food in town is nice, but it never hurts to have a supply of rations to keep us going.
Sure, not a problem.
Currently down to 4 because I ate one last night when we were trapped in the bathroom.
I just imagine Mech sitting in a tub, like eating like some hardtack and some jerky.
Yeah. It's just like
in the dark. You just hear. Oh, that's great. That's a great mental image there. Garish would know where to go. You would go to Tor's general store.
All right, we'll go there.
Yeah. It's also in the Fang Market, so it's not terribly far away from where you were before. As you step inside, there is a green-scaled Dragonborn male sitting at the front counter. He's got a book in one hand and a pen in the other. He's writing some stuff down. Welcome, don't steal anything.
We're looking for rations.
He looks up at you. Back of the store. Grab whatever you need. Bring it up front when you're ready to check out.
I'll head to the back of the store.
Yeah.
And there's small leather, wax paper covered bits of rations. There's about 50 boxes on the shelf. Seem to be all similarly prepared. Some of them don't have some things from others, but for the most part, it's rations.
Is there like a price tag listed, or are we just sort of...
Whatever is normally in the book. I think they're 5 silver pieces each.
Okay.
Yeah, it said 1 day of rations is 5 silver.
That's like one package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 10 silver to the gold. Mm-hmm. So
2 rations gold.
Yep. I guess I'll grab 8 for myself.
Sure.
I'll grab 11.
Okay. And then like you guys are passing by different shelves, buckets, long poles, climbing gear, rope, farming tools, regular general store things.
Yeah. I'm not seeing anything. I can't think of anything I really need besides the rations currently. Yeah, so I'll set my rations down on the counter and produce the full gold pieces.
He looks at him, looks at your money. All right, that adds up. He scoops the coins behind the counter. You hear clank as they like fall into a drawer. Oh, yeah, here. He sets a small circular disc on top of your rations that is like a white disc with red strips in it that kind of spiral out from the center.
What's this?
It's candy.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
1 candy.
Do I see any spades in the shop?
Yeah, there's a whole bucket that's just full of shiny new spades.
Awesome. I'll add one to my pile of rations.
Sure.
It's 5 gold and 5 silver for the rations. How much for the spade?
Definitely not looking up the price for a shovel.
The dragonborn is just giving me a blank stare.
He's scratching his chin, thinking, because not many people come in and buy shovels.
All right, it's 11 rations and a spade. It'll be 7.5 gold.
All right.
Reaches by he again scoops the coins into like the drawer just out of view. He reaches aside, sets the small disc on top of your stuff. Have a good day.
Thank you.
And I'm guessing Garish didn't get any candy.
No, he gave him one.
Oh, thanks.
I'll add that to my treasures tab.
It's like a thin, maybe like an eighth of an inch thin disc. That's about the size of like a dollar coin.
That's more than thickness. Not
Yeah, it's very thin.
Yeah. It's like one of those peppermint candies that you get from your Grammy.
But it's like
But-
it's like thinner than that, but it's like whiter.
Yeah.
been flattened because it's not factory produced.
You can definitely tell that it's not like a perfect circle. Like it's a little like oblong on one side. Like whatever this was handcrafted.
Having a piece of candy is always nice to have.
It'll bring good luck along with my green candle.
Yeah, I still got my vanilla white candle.
Where to next?
Well, I mean, we don't have any jobs currently. Aside from goblin hunting
And herb collecting.
and herb collecting, yeah.
As a note, you guys are still not on the board.
This is true. We don't have a name yet. We need to come up with one.
The red green show.
Say red green. And that's something we can think about, and the next time we turn in a bunch of goblin ears, we'll be ready to have a name.
Yeah. Oh, we also have the drow people to look out for.
Yes, but that's more of a cautionary thing. I'm not certain. And if we can find any information about Sybil or Sybil, that's where 2 is from. That's some information we got.
Oh, that's right.
It
I
is on
definitely-
your map, by the way.
Yes, it's very far out to the northeast.
Also have a few options with the lotus.
Yeah, we could go sell that to Claudius, and that would really bolster our funds.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you think we should keep it for any reason, but I can't. It seems like it's a dead end for the werewolf. The werewolf, we might never see it again. But if it's after this thing and we have it on us, it's gonna come at us.
Yeah. And if we try to take it to guiding light, I imagine we'd have to be careful to not shatter the jar. That's a lot.
Yeah. I feel like selling this perhaps would be in our best interest.
And Claudius has his fancy box.
Yes, that would keep it much safer and possibly not detectable. I'd feel
Yeah.
comfortable selling it to him. You said he was
Hmm.
going to offer 40 platinum pieces. That's, I would, I would take
Yeah.
half of my half and just basically buy that necklace.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I guess I'll go back to Claudius.
Sure, not a problem. You guys are still in the Fanged Market. You cross again the Fanged Market and see Colonius' cart. He's just finished with a customer who's walking away with some. It's a woman who's walking away with a fine pendant. Back so soon.
Yes, answers are not so forthcoming about this magnificent flower.
What is very
So
rare.
yes, we can't foresee any reason to hold on to it. And it seems like you would be able to make better use of it.
Well, I hope the next time we meet, I'll have made it into something fantastic.
Of course. The offer was 40 platinum. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yep. 40 platinum.
And that necklace you showed me the other day, that was 20 platinum if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Well, if possible, I would love to do a half and give the remaining platinum to my friend Garish here, since he's entitled to half the loot.
Well, I always try to make trades more lucrative to my friends. Say you give me the lotus, I give you the necklace and 23 platinum.
That sounds entirely fair to me.
Hmm.
Again, he goes through the rigmarole of summoning the chest from seemingly nowhere next to his cart. He takes the lotus jar from you and very carefully sets it inside the chest, closes it, snaps his fingers, and the chest disappears, and he picks up the small replica. All right, 23 platinum. He sets it on the counter, and I believe this beautiful necklace of sacred missiles now belongs to you. As he hands you the necklace of sacred missiles.
I'll take 21 platinum and 5 gold. You get the remaining 1 platinum, 5 gold.
Okie dokie. That is an awesome necklace, though. Is that in addition?
Yes,
Wow.
I believe it says it on there. An
Yeah,
additional.
an additional.
Yeah, I just. Why into that?
As well, the two of you seem to be adventurers, I assume?
Yes.
Yes.
I. If you would. If you don't mind, you said you are a practitioner of the arcane arts. Do you. Is it an innate talent, or is it learned?
I am a learned scholar.
Learned. Just like me. Um, since the two of you seem to be going out on many adventures, I imagine you'll be finding all sorts of magical objects and trinkets in your travels. As you have already collected several of them. I hope you don't mind. When I had cast my detect magic spell earlier, I had just noticed that you have a few interesting things. Um, I think it might be in your best interest to learn something from me. And he produces a scroll from inside of his jacket. I had thought about this the last time you came by, and I figured I might as well pull it out in case you stop by again. And he hands it to Mekleresh.
What's which type of scroll is it?
It is a spell scroll. It is a scroll of Identify.
Ooh.
Now, this particular spell can only be performed if you have a pearl that is of sufficient value. Now, I do sell these things, and should you find yourself flush with money again, you could always procure one. But you would need to scribe the spell yourself. But you seem to have the proclivity to do such thing.
Yes. How much are these pearls?
For this one, and he holds up the one he used earlier, this is 100 gold pieces or 10 platinum. But
Yes.
the pearl is not consumed when you cast a spell, is merely the catalyst for which you view an item's properties.
I'd be
The
willing
pearl.
to pitch into the price of that.
See, but I'll tell you what. Why don't you take that scroll home with you tonight? And if you are successful in learning the spell, then come back to me and purchase the pearl.
Oh, thank you very much for your kindness.
It's just this feeling that we will be doing business in the future, so I think of it as an investment on my part.
Just as a player note, it's 100 gold worth of vellum to scribe a spell, right?
Yes, it is 100 gold in vellum and inks.
Okay, so I need another 20 gold worth. You wouldn't happen to sell any vellum, would you?
Oh, it would be awfully rude of me to ask you to stripe this and not give you the materials. One moment. And he reaches into the side of his cart and he pulls out like a side drawer that slides out, and inside you can see fine bottles of shimmering colored ink, as well as very fine vellum. And he picks out a few choice pages and sets them in front of you, and pulls out a bottle and he sets it in front of you. This should be more than adequate, I believe. So you can add
That-
200 gold in inks and vellum to your character sheet.
Wow. Alright. Oh, it's old per spell level, isn't it?
Yeah. It's 100
it's
gold
a second
piece
level spell.
level. And it is a first
Yeah.
level spell.
Oh. He's being very generous. Or assumes I'm terrible. Which is fair.
Anything else the two of you would like to pick up while you're here?
I don't believe so, Garish. Was there anything you would like to look at? I know you were interested in the gauntlet the other day. I'm not certain if you're still interested.
I just asked about it because I thought it was separate from the glove.
Yeah, no, it is the glove. It is a gauntlet.
Mhm.
And for those of you who are upset because you don't know what the hell we're talking about, it is a gauntlet which is capable of shooting a gout of flame from it.
No, I think that is all for today. I mean, we'll certainly, I'll certainly make my best effort to learn the spell this evening. But you know how these things go.
Of course, of course. If you make any mistakes in penmanship, you can always bring by the result anyways, and I'll see if I can't help you out.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course.
As a note, my spell book is like this horrible mess of like it's all written in primordial because that's how I learned the language, and it's just
Well, it's just
it
a
looks
mess.
awful. It
It's
looks
just a
awful
mess.
to an experienced wizard.
Yeah.
They're gonna laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where would you
So
like to go?
I mean, did you want to? It's still midday-ish, or are we into the afternoon at this point?
I would say walking around the Fang Market, returning from your thing. I'd say it's getting later in the day. It's about mid-afternoon by this point. Well,
Yeah,
we
I
had to walk
mean-
all the way back to town, so it's like kind of like evening by this point.
Okay, yeah.
Some of the
I
shops are
was gonna
starting to
say-
close up.
It doesn't make sense to try and push out into the wilds so late in the day. I am perfectly fine with just taking a night off.
First, we could look for containers if we find bog root and the other plant, since they need specific storage.
That's fair. I mean, if we could probably use the same type of container for either or, because if we need an airtight jar, and the other one needs to be kept in water, we can just put the water in the airtight jar.
Right.
Say the Gloria did have several empty containers on her shelves. I could say we could hand wave it and say you guys grab some before you left.
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be a gold piece, and we'll say you got 4 containers.
Okay, so we'll
Sure.
each spend a gold, I
Yeah.
assume, because I want 4.
And they're about maybe like soda can sized.
I'll take 8.
Sure, no problem. She gave them to you in a nice little box. They clink around a little, but serviceable.
Nice.
Yeah, I would definitely like to attune to some things tonight, though.
Sure. No problem.
And I don't know, like, oh, how long does attunement take? Is that also 8 hours?
It takes an hour to attune to a new object.
Okay, so theoretically, if we spent the evening at the inn, I could transcribe the spell as well as attune to both of my new magic items.
So how would both of you spend your evening at the inn?
I don't know if I would want to scribe my spell in the center of the room. I'd probably do that in the privacy of my own room.
Okay. So you excuse yourself after you guys eat dinner at the bar. It's a nice, decent meal. Nothing incredibly special, but serviceable. You retire to your room. Garish, what would you like to do with your evening?
I'll just attune the periaptive wind closure.
Sure. The two of you retire to your rooms for the evening. As night slowly sets in, sleep finds you. A deep sleep, a relaxing sleep, knowing you are now safe within city walls, no longer worried about a horrifying werewolf that might be pursuing you through the night, following you between thicks of trees. Of course, you brought grim news back to the town, but at least you survived, which is the important thing. But sleep does slowly find both of you in your own individual rooms. However, Garish, there's a knock at your door in the middle of the night. At first, it is a light rapping, just, but slowly gets more frantic as time goes on.
I'll approach the door.
Garish, you gotta open the door. I need your help, man.
I'm gonna open the door.
It's Keith. Look, man, I screwed up. And that's where we'll pick up next time.